Hi, welcome back to my channel. So, it's finally here. The Archon V2 has arrived. And yeah, it's available to buy at HaloRC.uk right now. Thought I should man up for a change and do my own build guide. So, without further ado, here is my first ever build guide. Hope it isn't too boring. I know my voice gets really annoying after you have to listen to it for 10 or 15 minutes. I'm totally with you on that. Feel free to mute it, it's pretty self-explanatory. Otherwise, yeah, I hope you understand it all and you like the frame. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you build them up in the future. Yeah, make sure you join the HaloRC Facebook group so that you can share your photos and videos of your latest builds. Yeah, I'm really keen to see what people think of the new frame, so check it out. Catch you soon. Thanks.
Right, so what you get in the kit is the carbon fibre plates here, top, middle and bottom plate, 2 camera plates, you get 8 clinch nuts, 4 16mm steel bolts, 4 14mm steel bolts. If you go for the alloy pack, then you get the 12 anodized alloy bolts in your choice of colour. Otherwise you get the steel bolts. Then with the choice of arms, you've got the skinny arms here for the Bloods edition. You see there at the bottom, it's only one bolt to attach them. The rest just slots into place, and yeah, it's enough to hold it all in. Makes it nice and easy to a quick change in the field. You only have to take the one bolt out, and then you can just slide the arm out and stick another one in. As you can see here, yeah, the wide arms are 16mm in the most narrow place, and the skinny arms are 10mm wide in the most narrow place. Skinny arms are of course 5mm thick, whereas the wide ones are 4mm thick carbon. I'm going to be putting this one together today with the skinny arms. So I'm going to start with the bottom plate, and you can choose between the 14 or the 16mm steel bolts depending on what sort of stack you're using and what sort of length you need of the bolts. I'm going to be using the 16mm on these. So you put them through the center holes closest to the middle. The top of the plate is where the little slots are, so then you take the middle plate and you put the slots at the top, both the slots facing the same way. You put that straight over the holes and use 4 of the clinch nuts just to hold the bolts in place so that they don't fall out. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a clinch nut on each of those. So yeah, I just do this so it's a bit easier. It keeps the bolts in place. They can't fall out then. And once we've got these in place, going to be able to separate the 2 plates. Obviously you want to leave enough space so that you can get an arm in between those. But once they're in place, you can spread them apart. Take one of your arms. You see on the arm it's got kind of like a knuckle where the hole is there. You want that pointing towards the front of the quad, and because it's got that slot in there, you can just slot it straight in place and line up the other hole with the bottom plate and the middle plate. I struggle a bit here to get it on camera. It's just easier just turn it upside down, line up the hole, and put one of your steel bolts through there, and then you just flip it over and secure it in place with another one of the clinch nuts. So this is one of the changes from the V1. I'm actually using 8 clinch nuts instead of 4. Just holds the arms in place a lot tighter. The bolts don't come loose as often. If you use Loctite as well, yeah, they'll never come loose. So you just go ahead and just repeat that on all 4 corners. Line it up, put your bolt through, and secure it in place with a clinch nut. So I'm just going to speed it up here so it's not so boring. It's pretty straightforward as you line them up. As you put each of the arm in, they all just connect really easily. The holes all line up perfectly, and you put all the bolts through, screw them in place with the clinch nuts. And once you've got the final one in, you go around and tighten them all up by hand. Now I know what you're thinking, maybe why haven't you pressed them into the carbon fibre? Well, I've never done that. I find that you can just by tightening them up, it pulls them into place. They always fit flush. The holes, they're the perfect size for this to work. As you do them up, you'll feel it getting tight, and then you'll hear a little click as it pops into place, and then you can tighten it down really nice and tight because it's steel on steel. So just I've just found it's the best way to connect all the arms. Again, just speeding it up here to save you the boredom. So now all the bolts are all nice and tight. All the arms absolutely solid, no movement at all. The reason why the arms are split like that is to leave these holes here that's for the 20 by 20 stack. Now they're M2 size holes because you can always make them bigger to fit M3, but of course you couldn't make them smaller to fit M2. That's to cater for either hole size that you might have with your 20 by 20 components. I'm just putting a bolt in here to show you how nice. That's quite a big rounded head. It just all fits in there nice and flush. Doesn't push against the arms or anything. So you've got a 20 by 20 mounting holes here at the back to go with the one in the middle, so you could have the flight controller at the back if you wanted to get the stack really low. Got these two little slots here for your VTX, and then two mounting holes that are 30.5 apart. That's for one of these half board VTXs like the Maytech, so you could actually secure it in place using the mounting holes rather than just taping it down. Just giving people some other options really. It doesn't fit sideways. I've got a hole there, a pair of holes in the middle there that they're more for an LED driver, such as this Maytech LED driver. So now we're going to move on to the camera pod assembly. So there's two ways to put this together. You could either use your standoff and fit the whole camera pod assembly together and then put it in place, or you can do like I'm going to do here and just put one side of the camera pod in at a time. So you hold it at an angle and push it up so it slides in, and then you just slide it right down and it all just locks into place. So it's locked into the bottom plate, and it's locked into the middle plate there, and obviously the top plate secures it all down in place. Now with both the camera plates in place, I'm going to fit the standoffs. When I use the right screwdriver, that is. So just finish off by tightening up all the bolts, and you'll soon see that it's just nice and tight. There's lots of strength in there. Don't hit it too hard. Look after it, give it a nice little stroke. Now you can move on to fitting the standoffs to hold the top plate in place. So they just screw straight down into the clinch nuts. No more trying to tighten steel bolts into alloy standoffs. Just I've threaded so many of them, it's so annoying. You try to do it up nice and tight so the arms don't come loose, and then you end up threading the standoff. So having those extra clinch nuts there, it gets rid of that issue. Put 2 of your 6mm bolts through the bottom of the middle plate. That's to secure the 2 rear standoffs in place. Now obviously they're all the same length standoff, whereas the 4 standoffs in the centre there are 2mm higher due to the clinch nuts. No clinch nuts at the back mean they're 2mm lower. Now the way I've got round this so that it's not bending the carbon down is that that's been incorporated into this SMA mount. So there's actually these don't go all the way through now. It actually creates a little 2mm thick layer on top of the standoff, and the bolt still goes through it, and that just stops you having to bend the carbon down to meet the standoff. So I'm going to fit the top plate now. You just fit the canberra plate slots into the holes, and then bolt it down using the 6mm steel bolts. It's hard to remember that you're actually doing this on camera sometimes, so I suddenly realised that you can't see anything other than my skinny, veiny hands. So there you go. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I'm screwing in a bolt, so I'm sure you don't really need to see a video on that. So it all sits nice and flush, nice and tight, holds the camera assembly in place. You just go ahead and fit the other 4 bolts. And that's it. I don't know why I stroked it then, but it is pretty damn sexy, so you might end up stroking yours. Just nice and tight, nice and tough. There's a tiny bit of a flex on the arms, but yeah, every quad has it. I'm strong. When you hit a wall, it doesn't usually grab you and bend you, so that's fine. Go ahead and show you the weight of it here. So it's 111.6 grams. That's the 5mm skinny arm version. I haven't got the little TPU part that goes in the camera assembly, so it's probably about 150, let's just say 115 grams maximum. So here it is, all built up, ready for me to fit components to. I'm actually going away this weekend, so hopefully I'm gonna take this with me and all my building stuff and just build it while I'm away. Should be fun. That's it. Hope you like it. See you on the next one.